about hair. A strange subject that I've actually been meaning to do a video about for ages, because of something that I read quite a long time ago, and it made me think, yeah, there might be some truth to that. So just to contradict myself, I like to contradict myself, after saying that the Bible should never be taken literally, I do still think that's true for the majority of it. However, with the story of Samson and Delilah, why, Delilah? Why did she cut his hair off? Because she realised that was the source of his power. And I do think that hair is to do with intuition a lot, which is a kind of power, isn't it? Intuition, you could say, is like a superpower. And if you think about it, there's always, there's a lot of clues, isn't there, in all the imagery of all the things that have been passed down, but like wizards and witches always would have long hair and long beards, in kind of other traditions as well, like with the Sikhs. Is it the Sikhs that wear the turbans in India? They never ever have their hair cut. That's why they wear the turbans. And apparently they were the best warriors. They were the absolute unbeatable kind of warriors, when all these wars were going on. And they were known to be kind of like they had a sixth sense. That's why they were unbeatable. Because they seemed to have this kind of knowing. They knew what was going to happen next. It's intuition, isn't it? It's a sixth sense. And also, the study I'm talking about that made me really think, wow, that's amazing, is the Native American Indians. So they always had the long hair, didn't they? And in the Second World War, they actually started to subscribe them up, because some of them wanted to help, at that point, they kind of integrated more, and they wanted to go and help. And whenever they signed up to join, they would give them the army haircut. And then they seemed to they always would lose their sixth sense. So they didn't realise at first why this kept happening, so they kept getting these guys who were really, had this kind of, seemed like they were really good, special powers or whatever, that's why they wanted them, because they thought they'd be handy in that kind of war situation. And then they kept kind of losing their abilities, and they were like, what's going on? So they asked the elders, why is this happening? And the elders said, well, you're cutting their hair off. That to them it was obvious. But obviously in our kind of Western culture, people don't realise, how important things like that actually are. So then they started pairing them up, and they started giving one the haircut and the other one just leaving it long. And then they would put them in a situation where they'd be camping at night, and then they would send people to ambush them in the night, just as an experiment, to see what would happen. And the ones with the hair, without fail, would wake up before it happened. They'd just have a sixth sense. They would have this feeling, and they would get out. And the other ones didn't. So I thought, wow, that's quite powerful, isn't it? That's quite strong evidence, I would say. And there was other studies done as well, but that was the one that made me really think, wow, there's something in that. And whenever I've had my hair cut, my hair doesn't really grow long because it's really fine, but I never ever have liked having my hair cut. And my parents used to have to make me have it cut, and they'd always say, oh, it'll grow quicker, but it never did. And my friend was a hairdresser, and she would always kind of, chop more off than I wanted. And I always felt weird afterwards, I'd always feel like, oh, something's missing, And that kind of explains why, doesn't it? Because maybe there literally is actually something missing, because you've lost something of your senses, your sixth sense, your superpowers. So yeah, so keep your hair on, basically.